with you?
No, that's the neighbor who, so I bought this property initially so I could expand my acreage because it was right next to my mom's house that I inherited.
Right.
And so that's the kids who bought my mom's house. Well, they got Nigerian dwarfs running outside in the yard.
Nice. All right. We are live now, and Lorna's coming in. All right. So, my thoughts this week, as we see if anyone else joins us, I shared on the video that I did live in the group today, digesting, thinking about all the stuff that's in the world right now that just needs to be digested. Lots of good stuff, but if you look at the news, there's a ton of other stuff out there. And we talk a lot about physical digestion, and this habit is particularly more about mental and emotional digestion, which is equally important to physical digestion. If you focus strictly on physical digestion, which if you've ever read about diets or followed anybody who is doing a diet, most of them are strictly physical. If you don't bring in that mental emotional component, you're just going to have a harder time, and there's going to be a lot of things you run up against yourself a whole lot. So I've been thinking about digestion in sitting to digest. The other thing kind of related to that is having to do with identity evolution. I am slowly pecking my way through a book called Personality Isn't Permanent. And that's a big part of what we've talked about, a big part of what several of the people that I read now and then are talking about is that things change. Who I was is not who I will be. What served me at one time to get to this point in my life, or our lives, anyone's life, isn't necessarily what is going to serve you going into the next phase. So things change. Life is a constant evolution. It doesn't stay the same. And yet, change is scary. Change can feel like chaos and craziness. I feel like right now, again, looking at the news, even within our little group here, there's a lot of change going on. Between Amanda is right out there right now, working on a change and has things going on. Lorna, you've talked about all the stuff that is just going on, moving around in your life. There's a lot of change. Well, you said with your house selling and this, that, and yeah.
No, I agree. I agree. It's like when you start laying it all out, it's like, yep, that's what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. The river isn't just burbling, it's roaring with change. So how to evolve and keep up with it. And for those watching it, and Lorna later, my video isn't working, so I apologize. You get to look at that lovely cup of latte, cup of love right there. But anyway. So,
I actually think I was thinking it looked rather tasty.
I know. I probably should change it. I'm putting something out there I don't really want, but you know, actually. So
yeah.
How do we change and evolve? We kind of talk about this quite a bit. One of the big things to being able to change is having a center, having a strong stem from which you can grow and expand. We talked about it this spring earlier in talking about plants and how they come up and they put up a good strong stem. And if you look at your gardens now, you can see that if plants that don't have a good strong center to them don't grow, they don't expand, they don't produce what they're meant to produce, which is seed, of course, or fruit. Same's true for us. If you're going to change, grow, expand, if you're going to be adaptable to the change that's in the environment around us, you need a strong center. Change looks like chaos. Chaos is simply disordered energy. It's potential. But because it's potential and it's disordered, it can also be very disruptive. Without a center, lack of a center equals a fear of chaos. Because it's scary, of course, if you're not well grounded, well rooted. And fear causes regression. Where we're wanting to move forward, we've got our why, our what we want to see out there. When you have fear because you don't have the center to support your growth, it's really hard to move forward. And you can even move backwards because you pull away from what's scary. That's just how we're put together. It's part of that survival instinct that was programmed into us that keeps us alive. It's good if you have to stay alive, not so good when you want to grow. Centering. How do you center? Sitting in silence. That's what it's all about, is finding your center, quieting all the voices that are out there, all the stuff going on, shutting it all out for just a little bit, even if it's just 1 minute, and coming into that center, that middle space. Why do you want to do this? Why does it matter? I don't know. Have you guys ever sat and then found that you can come to, you feel a center inside you? It's not just a mental emotional thing. It's almost like a physical sensation. Yeah, Amanda's saying yes. I think that was a yes from Lorna.
It was. Yeah. Sorry, I got a little mute happy. I think that's why it's so important to start. I mean, starting your day or finding that time to just get yourself centered, quiet, locate your true north.
Yeah, it's too crazy out there not to.
Amen.
Yeah. So when you get to that center, and sometimes it's a physical sensation inside. For me, sometimes you can expand out from there, even in your quiet, and you can feel a bigger perspective. You open up to more profound insights because your brain is quiet, so that bigger perspective can come to you, and you see things that you just didn't realize before, you didn't see in situations or just in being. You learn how to access love, joy, and peace. These are higher order emotions. These are the emotions that we were meant for. Fear is the antithesis of that. Fear is what happened when Adam and Eve heard God coming and went and hid. Why? They were afraid. That's the most primal antithesis emotion to what we were meant for, which was peace, love, and joy. So when you are sitting and you can quiet and come into that physical center, you access those higher order emotions. Those are the things that help to bring order to the chaos, so that you can tap into that energy, that potential energy that's just waiting for you. You harness it so that you can respond rather than react. Sitting in silence, hitting your center. Physically, This gives you an increased immune response. It gives your tissues the space to rejuvenate. And it renews your body and your mind. I mentioned last week, we talked a little bit how when you sit in silence and you sit and you can really hit that silent spot, it's like a wakeful sleep. That's how your body registers it. So you can access physical healing, improve your whole immune system, decrease your adrenal responses, all those things that you experience when you're in that place of peace, love, and joy. That's your center. That's what gives you your strength. When you go out and you face the world again, whether it's children or the news or just getting groceries, for Pete's sake, you tapped into that something bigger and better that is unshakable and that keeps you redaptable, adaptable to respond. How about that? Redaptable. I like that word. So, deep thoughts for the day. Digestion and centering. Sitting in silence to get that point of center so that you can grow, expand, be redaptable in your life. Quick centering thing, because I know I need this. This whole week, last weekend was nuts. Yesterday, I went for a huge long walk and I just found a quiet spot that seemed right, and I sat there for a long time, and it was marvelous. And I need to do some more of that just for that recovery time, coming into that quiet after a lot of storm, that calm after the storm kind of thing where everything gets reordered. This is a quick one. Close your eyes. Hands on your heart. Your heart is the center of your being, your point of connection and attachment, probably the most profound part of your body, energetically and physically. We're just going to tap into your heart. Close your eyes, helps quiet your senses. Breathe all the way out and get good and empty. Either sit or stand, as your case may be, so you're flat on the floor. You're connected all the way through your seat bones if you're sitting, your feet if you're standing, both ways. Deep breath, empty it out. As we go in, Ave, breathe out, some. If you can, do it out loud. Ave, some. Ave, some. Do it in your head a few times if you need to. You can do the breathing in through your nose, with the Ave in your head. One more on the exhale, breathe all the way out. And then you can drop your chin and open your eyes without looking at your screen. Stretch way up with your arms and look up. Then as you exhale, bring your hands together down to your heart. Right. Ground rules. Oops. I have a screen sharing. Oh, I can't see us because none of us have our screens on. All right. Ground rules. What do you guys think? I believe our ground rule with this one should be accept no whining. Growth is work. We're conditioned to see the unfamiliar and uncomfortable as negative, so we tend to avoid it or whine about it. Living on your edge of growth means being willing to accept the emotions that arise as part of your evolution and responding with the courage to exhale. Reorient yourself, ground yourself in the horizon that's in front of you, where you want to go, and embrace the ever-changing scenery along your growth path. That one is mine for this week, that's for sure. No whining. Just know where you want to go. Your why is your destination. You want to keep track of that. How about you guys? Any other ground rules that jump out to you? Or does this one work for you this week and why?
I agree with the no whining, except no whining. I got handed a dump. I mean, it a bad situation, and I'm not whining about it. I'm just getting to work, buckling down, a lot of deep breaths, and a lot of trying to focus on the positive and not look at all the negative that's I get to deal with. So
that's the horizon in front of you, right?
Yep, that is 100% horizon in front of me. Hopefully, 2-week horizon.
There you go.
Yep.
I like it.
I think I like overcoming resistance by kindling your desire.
Kind of related. How so for you?
Hold on, I'm trying to read it all right now so I can. So, what I mean, what it's for me, what it's saying is when everything is piling on and it just seems like everything's really sucky, I guess is a good word for today, is that usually means that there's a breakthrough right around the corner. So it's almost like being thread through the eye of the needle. It's like going through that eye of the needle is really not an amazing experience. But once you emerge, there's like a whole new realm that's available for you.
Mm.
And that's what I see out of that.
Yeah.
There's like all the stuff all the minutia that keeps you down the morass, that has you like going through it all. It's there's usually a breakthrough right around the corner if you can hold out.
Yeah. Yep. That is the truth. And keeping your eyes on the horizon, reorienting yourself.
Yep. Just always being in touch with your, it's so easy to get distracted by all the stuff versus the who, you know, the why.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Which is why I encourage you guys again to revisit the your desired outcomes sheet. It was actually really interesting to me last week, and maybe that's part of why this weekend was so challenging. Check it out and see where you've been, where you're going, and why you wanted to get there in the first place, your why. Because Lorna's right, that kindles your desire, and then you can keep going even when you hit that resistance, which is sort of like changes and chaos's last stand before everything comes together. Rags, what's worked this week?
I think following the plan is actually being present to what is working and, you know, what is not working, what is working. One of my things was to lighten myself up, and that's, I mean, it's a small brag, but it's a big brag for me, is getting rid of, I've sold the cottage, renting the other house out, and just getting rid of having 3 houses completely full of everything and just getting rid of it. I created a buy and sell board up in Gladwin, and as I go through it, I'm just setting everything for porch pickups. So it's great. I have this group. I can just unload as much as I want, and you know, it really feels good. Like as they're pulling up the driveway, it's like, oh, that's gone, that's gone, that's gone. You know, so it's really. I mean, I've been carrying around all of this baggage for 10 years. I mean, and it's just amazing to just eliminate it. If I don't really love it, and if it doesn't really ever gonna have a purpose in my house anymore, I'm getting rid of it, and it feels good.
Yes, it does. That is an amazing brag. How about you, Amanda? What's going great? What's working for you?
I got sidetracked and didn't hear anything.
What's going great for you? What's your brag this week?
I didn't strangle a woman at the grocery store yesterday when she called me a bee 3 times and told me to go ahead and run away, little bee. Ooh, yep. That was my Gandhi moment.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, isn't that's part of what I was just thinking about, is how crazy the world is, and it just is imposing itself on us, even if we don't, that isn't where we want to live, and we're not choosing it, and all of that. It just is the energetic, I don't know the right word, the energetic stew, the energetic atmosphere right now. It's fear and anger. Yeah, I love your Gandhi moment though. You're hitting your center. You're getting to be what you want to be. My brag was sitting yesterday and digesting, making time. As much as I preach it, I sometimes forget myself that I gotta sit, take time, make time, just digest things and let them be.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And I just love this little sheet.
I know. You know, our conversation earlier today, as I planned this out after that, I kept thinking, trying to get away from that. Guess where I ended up? Right here. So.
I was like, oh my gosh, it couldn't be any more perfect.
I know. Yep. Yeah. Well, when you hit a theme, when the universe really wants to tell you something, you know, you might as well just sit down and listen. That's part of that sitting in silence too. You might as well just sit down and listen, because it's going to keep telling you until you just shut up and do that.
You know, they always say, there's that old saying, what you resist will persist.
True story. Yes. Yep. Yep. Ooh, I should add that to the bottom here, because that's kind of what this is all about. But coming into that center, as I was thinking about digesting and about identity evolution, this VOTA process came to mind. Take as a tool to take a look at, again, our why, staying on the horizon, keeping your eyes on the horizon, kindling your desire, taking a look at where you want to go, what's holding you back, what needs to move or shift in you, and then what are you going to do about it? What to do? A lot of transformation, when you listen to people that don't really want to change, they find ways to want other people to change. Well, if I'm going to do this, if it's going to happen, you need to do this or that, or I need you to do this or that, with the unstated, in order for me to succeed at this or that. And it's easy. I caught myself this week even thinking, which I know better, and I catch myself real quick and change it, but it's still the thing that pops to mind. Well, if only they would do this, then I could do this. Or I could do this if they would just quit doing that. So taking a look at what we need to have transform or shift in me to move on this goal. And what do we need to do? Gonna take just a few minutes. And I know, Amanda, you are not exactly at a spot where you can sit and write. I did share it on the Facebook page, so you can print it off later or look at it, whatever then.
I'll do that. I'm headed home now. I'm tired. I'm done. I've also learned how to quit when I've had enough.
Respecting your own boundaries. That's beautiful. Another brag, huh? For someone.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about that with Yumi and Andrea anyway. The little Energizer bunnies. And we're realizing, actually I was talking with Bobby too. And she was saying the same thing, realizing, oh, there's a boundary. Good to quit when you're tired. So.
Yeah. That's a big thing.
Yeah. So, goals. Would it help to just talk through this, or would it be more helpful for you guys to write a bit or think through it and then talk about what comes up?
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, we'll mind getting
Can I have you repeat what you said?
Sure. Given our small group and Amanda's inability to write, would it be easier to just talk through this as opposed to writing for a while and then talking about what comes up?
I think talking it through would be a good thing.
That's what I was thinking. Okay.
I agree.
Okay. Goals. With all of the successes and brags, to hit the next goal or to hit your why, what do you see yourself doing, being, experiencing, or restate your why? What's your goals? Or give us a goal right now.
My goals are creating abundance everywhere. Abundance in my life, that means freeing up things, abundance creating things, abundance helping others create things. That's what one of mine is.
Stability, emotionally, physically, financially, and just in my world.
What was the first word that you said, Amanda?
Stability.
Stability. Nice. Abundance, stability. My goals are defining, to define my whys in several areas and defining then the directions I need to go in. So then obstacles. What's keeping you from achieving this? What's the mountain in front of you?
Time, space, and money.
Outside impact. Gotta learn to mitigate them and process them at a healthier level.
Okay. Lorna, can you define that or be more specific?
Sorry, I couldn't get you off mute, unmute. So time would be like creating enough time to do like enrolling others into like supporting me for what my agreements are for around the house, around the baby, around my husband, around that. That's one of my obstacles. And so creating a great relationship with having them support me in creating that free time to explore my goals. Money, the things that I want to do, take money and resources. So generating revenue, if it's generating revenue in learning a new process, if it's generating revenue by selling some of my processes that I already have easily read, accessible to give to people in exchange for dollars. Health is just keeping with my why, doing my exercise or my breathing exercises in the morning, sitting in silence, eating healthy, going to bed early, making it so I'm fresh the next day. And relationships are just trying to find the balance with everything that's going on, and still having amazing relationships with the people who I'm choosing to have amazing relationships with.
Nice. Thank you. My obstacles include the fear of past failures, and time. One part of my brain says you always have time for what's important. So time is short, but you prioritize. So I guess that's part of the transformation part. My time is pretty precious because there's a lot of irons in the fire right now. So that's an obstacle, is just that there's only, 24 hours in a day. But stepping into then the transformation part of it, what do you need to transform or shift in you to move on this? I know that with my time, I have to choose to prioritize to do this. That would be one of my transformations anyway, on my obstacles. What are your transformations?
I think the transformations for me is just being really at ease, being calm. Like there's this level of peace that I've just been experiencing. I'm not wound up. I don't get riled up. It's just kind of like, oh, okay. And actually being okay with it, not like being, oh, okay. Like I'm underlining, just like ignoring what my real thoughts are. Like, oh, I'm fine. When really, when somebody says, oh, I'm fine, that really means, oh, they're not fine. But really just having like that calming like experience that I haven't experienced. I don't remember since when. It's like not being wrapped up in all the minutia, the morass, and that there's this just being able to maneuver the waters.
Yeah. It sounds like some of the transformation is that you are in the process of digesting old stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And actually digesting it, identifying it, digesting it, and getting that was what was running the show versus now what I say is running the show. Because it was almost it almost had the occurring like it was like I was like I had blinders on, like I could see forward, and it was right over like in my peripheral vision that I couldn't see that that's actually what was running the show. And then once I experienced that was running the show, it was easy to put that in the past and just get through that. So it's been very, very freeing.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like it's still a process because you're still getting rid of stuff physically.
Yeah,
your stuff's still moving out.
Yeah, but that's something, that's the thing is like identifying, okay, why, like what was that conversation that had that? And it was like, oh, okay. If like they say, you can locate your conversations when you're young, and the conversation of never having enough, or like what is that point of ever having enough? And from where I came from is we never had anything. So now it's like, can I ever have enough? And the answer is finally I've come to, yes, you can. Instead of always living in scarcity, like, where's the next meal going to come from? Where's the next, where am I going to sleep tomorrow night? I mean, like, all of those past things that occurred, actually how it almost ran the show as of today is that there will never be enough.
Yeah. And you're also, it sounds like, shifting into a more authentic way of being.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Nice. How about you, Amanda? Thank you. I know she's driving, and it's a pain to unmute on a phone.
Yeah, the button is kind of little.
And
sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. Zoom was not designed for phones. I think they're trying, because I've noticed it's gotten better over the 2 years, but it's difficult. So how about actions then? What to do in order to get to your goal? Because you're a lot of your transformations are things that you are saying you have done. What still needs to happen?
Well, I think the actions is actually writing out the whole game or plan. If you say you're committed to living in freedom and peace and having tranquility and sunshine and roses, however, if you don't put forth those actions to have the sunshine and roses and the tranquility, then that's all push. So the actions are just identifying them, dealing or managing them, and then putting in the right structures to make sure that they're not reoccurring. For me.
Yeah. I guess I'm wondering again, without sharing any more than what you want to share, if you could be any more specific. Like, what structures would you put in place so that you don't move back into that place of lack or scarcity? If that makes sense.
I think that's where having the team of people around you, like the right team of people, the right relationships, are a good reminder of like reach out before you tweak out kind of a thing. It's like if you're in constant contact with somebody that has an understanding of like what you're like what you're up to, that that if they feel comfortable, that if they identify that, hey Lorna, you're doing X, Y, and Z, let's look at that for a minute. That's where my girlfriend Karen comes in. Is I have a morning call with her every day, and we go through and we kind of digest like what's going on, what our plans are, what we're doing, and somebody that supports you to achieve what you've said you're going to achieve. So if she starts identifying, hey Lorna, let's look at this area, to be able to actually have those conversations with somebody that's willing to support you. Obviously if I'm running off to Macy's or whatever, buying a bunch of crap. She'll be like, hey, I don't know if that, I mean, so I think that's, there's also, you can put money structures around it, like, I love Dave Ramsey, like really putting good boundaries around, so every dollar I get is already spent before I even get it on paper, because it's all allocated somewhere. So you don't have that extra financial stuff to go and, load up on stuff.
Right.
So there's, budgets, people, I mean, there's a million different ways to structure it.
Yeah.
Don't go shopping on Amazon. Like, I got rid of my Prime. I mean, there's just several things that can happen. And now, before I do buy anything or bring anything in, or, nothing, I don't do like impulse purchases. Like, oh, I need a new printer. I'm just going to go buy one. It would be easier, simpler, or should I just try and fix the one I have? I mean, so there's things like that as far as physical items. But I think for emotional items, it's having somebody that you can reach out to who will just listen to you. If you need to vomit on them about something that's going on, that they will listen just generously. And then when you request coaching, that then they'll offer that. Because there is sometimes when you just need to a little bit tweak out and just get it off your chest. And then, like, because as you're saying it, it almost does, like, you've created it 100 times worse inside your head than when you actually start putting language around it and you're like, oh, well, that was dumb. But as you're talking it out, you can actually identify that to where when it's just bouncing around between your ears, it sounds so much worse. And then you can, you stop adding the dramatic moments to it.
Right.
So it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that was dumb. Yeah,
Yeah.
I might have overreacted a little bit on that one. Okay, I'll get that. I may have.
But having that support system, that's the whole purpose of being in the group, right? Here is.
Yep.
So if you don't have a Karen in your life, it's just too funny. Her name's Karen. I just realized that. She's a good Karen, though.
That's pretty funny because we just made her a shirt. It says, "Yep, I'm that Karen."
Yeah. So if you don't have a good Karen in your life, having a support system around you is essential to making transformative actions. If you don't have somebody that gets where you're going and why you want to get there, it's probably not you're gonna have a way harder time making the circle around your goals, your vision, obstacles, and transformation to make the actions happen so that you can achieve the next level of vision and go on and around. Because this is really describing a spiral of growth.
Yes.
Yeah. With, you in the center, centered. But this is your spiral of growth around that good, strong center.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think we always should have a Karen or a Jill or Amanda or, somebody who you can, who you feel comfortable that sharing, but it's sharing that's also. See, I think that's the other thing is people in like a group situation, like we don't really share we don't share everything because of fear of being judged or, oh my gosh, and it's like having those people that you can count on that will listen to you, but also will honor the, that's where it's going to end. They're not going to be on the phone to Betty, tell Lorna really thinks her husband's a jerk today.
Yeah.
So I mean,
No.
there's really a level of trust and confidence that has to, happen in order to do that, because it can also go sideways.
Yes. Yes. And I do hope and trust. And that's part of the care and candor. I hope that if anything ever happens like that, that somebody hollers in here. But
Yep.
yeah. So my actions are to make the actions actually concrete by writing them out.
Yep, that's awesome.
Having a concrete list of what to do. My goal is to get clarity, and my action is to write that down so that as I hit the obstacles in the transformation, it's concrete for me and I know what I need to do, and then following through. So then that helps me set my next goals for what I actually have to follow through and do, as well as just writing it down, making a plan. And
I
then
think
that will
there's something
clarify
magical that
for me
happens.
the next vision that happens.
Yeah, and I think there's something magical when you actually write it down and map it all out, because it's like as we start going through it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it just opens up like resources.
Yeah, well, like you said, when you just have stuff in your head, yeah, when you just have your stuff in your head, it's murky and it can be dramatic, or it can be it can be all the things that are your self-sabotage things. As soon as you put language to something, there's a great power in naming. What was one of the first things Adam had to do? Name everything. As soon as you name it, it becomes concrete and it becomes real and tangible. So that's exactly one of the original gifts we were given was language.
That's very true.
For exactly that purpose, to make things real.
Yep. And
I love
what is it?
I love spontaneous insights. I like that.
Yep, I think that's good.
What were you gonna say?
I said I think that sounds good. And there's I like, I don't know, I like the creating part of the whole writing of it down. And it's like, for me, there's something almost magical in actually creating something, and then once you've created it, is just watching it bloom and watching it blossom. It's like planning out your garden in February. It's like, oh, you can see it kind of in your head how it's going to look, but then once August comes, you're like, wow, this is 100 times better than what I planned it, than what I even thought was possible in February.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. This was actually a good exercise, and for everybody that catches this later, we would like to see what you guys come up with.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and we're at our time.
Awesome.
So, any closing thoughts or ideas, Lorna?
It's been a fun day. This has been a really good day, actually. Started great. It was amazing. It's like when you have that's the other thing, is when you have conversations with people about what they're up to and whatever. It's I think coaching is about providing a space for somebody to work out what it is they're up to. But I think you actually gain so much more for being that clearinghouse for that person. So it's just been a really magical day.
Well, good.
So Thank
love
you.
that. Yeah, yeah. Thank you too. It's gone both ways today. So, all righty.
All right, you guys have a
we will
fabulous
talk to
day.
you later, Lorna. Have a
All
great
right,
evening.
all right, you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.